Okay, so welcome back, guys. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. So, welcome back to this session. I hope I'm live. Let me check once if I'm live. Just 1 second, guys. Let's confirm if I'm live. Okay, perfect. So, I'm live. Welcome, everybody. So, this is the JavaScript session, and we are covering our front end playlist, right? So, if you don't know what is going on here, you are in CodeBeyond challenge, and what we are doing here is we are creating our front-end playlist in which we are covering HTML, CSS, and JavaScript till now. So HTML and CSS, I think we have covered all the basics, and I think today we are going to do one project on CSS as well. So in HTML, CSS, that's where we are, and in JavaScript, I think we have covered yesterday conditional statements, and today we are going to see the looping construct. So we are going to understand what are the different looping constructs, what is it, why do we need it, all of those things. Okay, so I'll just wait for some more time so that people can join. Meanwhile, I'll just check everything is fine or not. Just give me 1 second. Hello, Sachit. Okay, cool. So I think everything is fine. Let's get started. Now, if you guys are new here and if you don't know what is happening, so let me tell you something in detail. So basically this particular front-end playlist is going on, and what we are doing here is at 4 to 5 p.m. every day we are covering JavaScript, and at night 8 to 9 p.m. then again 9:15 to 10:15 we are covering HTML and CSS. Okay, that's what is the routine plan for this month. So that's how it is happening. And here we are with the JavaScript session. And if you don't know about me, so my name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've also worked as a content strategist, research analyst, and a subject matter expert in most of the edtech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience. I've trained graduates and corporate employees from iCent and Capgemini, and I've trained more than 30K students till now, and it is increasing day by day. The subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end languages, mostly in the domain of full stack development. And I do also, take tips and tricks of cracking the interview. So interview preparation guidelines, I also take sessions on. Okay. Now this was all about me, and I have a very good news for you right now. Starting from today, that you must be knowing about Relevel. If you're following my channel, if you're following this particular sessions, if you're following the playlist, then you must be knowing what is Relevel, right? So what you can do is you can use my code, which is RIT10, and you can get a free Relevel sample test paper. Now, what is this sample test paper? See, you know that whenever you register in Relevel, you have to give a test, right? And to get an idea of what kind of test will be there, that sample test paper will help you a lot. So use my coupon RIT10 when you're registering, and you can get 10% and you can get a free Relevel sample test paper. Okay. So if you are new and you don't know what is Relevel, right? So let me tell you about that, and then you can use this RIT10 coupon code. Okay, so let's understand what is Relevel first of all. See, you guys must be from second year or third year of your college, right? And your college may be of tier 3. That means many of the MNC companies are not coming there to hire you guys, or maybe you're not getting much opportunity to get interviewed or to get hired, right? So you have applied for 50-60 companies, but none of the company is actually calling back. Maybe because of your degree, maybe because of your college, it can be anything, right? So there are a lot of reasons behind you which company sees and then they ignore you, right? But in Relevel, what happens is we only depend on the skills and talent which you have. So we only, on the basis of skill and talent, we give you a profile, so that that profile can be shared by most of the client companies, and then they can interview you and hire you. Okay, so this is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers find their dream jobs, and you can get a job basis of your skill and talent. Now, what are the different benefits which you will get from here? So basically over 50 plus companies are tied up with us, okay, top startups and unicorns, and you have to just give a free test, right? So this test can be of any domain, business development, front end or back end. You can choose whichever domain you want, or in which domain you have the skills. And what you can do is you can finish your test in a single day of your choice and get your level score within a week. Suppose that your score is 700 or more than 700 out of 1000, right? The test will be of 1000 marks and you have to score more than 700. If you're scoring more than 700, then we will create a profile for you, and this profile will be shared with most of the client companies so that you can get interviewed and hired. If you are scoring below 700, then what will happen? You can reattempt this test again after 30 days. Okay, so that's cool, right? Now 1000 plus job positions are there across different domains, business development, front end and back end. And how you can register yourself, let me tell you about that. So in this video, if you scroll down, you will find the link, right, of relevel.com. If you click on that, you can go ahead and sign up with the basic informations of yourself, and then click on register. How to register? You have to just choose the slot, or choose the test first, right? Which test you want to give, on which you have the skills. And then you have to choose the slot, you have to choose the day or the time when you want to give the test. And then you can create a neat video resume and then click on submit. Once you do this, your registration is successful, and you can go ahead and prepare for the test. You have to sit for the test and score well in that, right? Now suppose there are two cases. The first one is maybe you do not have any skill. So we have the playlist going on. We have so many faculties who are taking so many other different kind of courses, backend development, front end, or Python or DSA. So watch those and then go and attempt this test. Suppose you're very afraid of the test, you don't know which particular questions will come, right? And because of that afraid, you're not going to attend that. So don't do that. What you will do, you can use my coupon code, which is RIT10, to get a free sample test paper, so that you get an idea, okay, how these 1000 marks are distributed and which all questions I will be asked, right? So this particular thing will help you out, correct? So go ahead and use that coupon so that you'll get benefit out of it, right? Do it right away, because many people are doing this, and they will also get opportunity. You won't get it, right? So go ahead and use this coupon code to get a sample test paper. I hope you have understood how to register yourself. Many of the people have already registered, and I believe that you will also do it. Okay, now we have a Telegram channel also. If you have not joined this channel, then please go ahead and join, because here all the notifications are sent when I am going live, or when I have planned to come up with a new session. All of those details will be given here. So it's very important to join this channel. In the description, the link is there. Okay, so you can go ahead and join this channel in Telegram. Hello Lakshman, good evening. I hope everybody is here. My students who are watching the course and learning everything from me, I think all of them are here. And if not, then I think they must be joining in some time. Please call your friends also, call your relatives, call your fellow mates, classmates who are, in their college and they're learning some of the front-end development languages, right? So that they can also understand what is happening. Most importantly, JavaScript, because this is a session which is on JavaScript. Okay, cool. So now we are in our main topic, which is our looping constructs. So we are going to understand what is looping constructs and why do we use it, right? So I hope and I think that anyone here who is watching my session, they are from second year of college, or maybe third year, or maybe fourth year, right? And you must be knowing one programming language. Let's imagine that you know C language, okay? And even if you know C++, Java, or Python, in all of these languages we have something called as looping constructs, right? And we know what is this, right? We all know what is this. So basically this is actually to iterate some items again and again, right? So that you don't have to write the items 1000 times or 100 times. So let me show you what I meant by saying that. What I'll do is I'll go back to my Visual Studio Code first, right? And I hope you can see the Visual Studio Code. And what I'm going to do here is you can see here that I have opened text and font.html, which I have worked the previous day, yesterday night. And this was a session on CSS. So I'm going to close this because I don't need it. And right now what I need a new file. So I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to just write here looping constructs.html. Okay, that's what I've written. It's not important to have a capital letter when you are naming some file. It's always said to use lowercase. So I'm just using lowercase. Looping constructs.html. This is the page which I've created and this is my page. Okay, so I'm going to use exclamation mark so that I can go ahead and hit enter. So you can see this is giving me my main skeleton of HTML. So what I'm going to write here is title understanding looping, okay, or understanding loops. Fine. Now this is my title and in the body I'm going to write one program. So let's understand what I'm going to do here. Now basically if you want to print something, let's say that I want to print any kind of text or any kind of let's say var text. So I'm keeping one variable here, right? And what I want to print here is I want to print all the items in my array. Okay, so let's say that I have an array where let's say that I have an array person. Okay, and in this what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all my maybe the values. So how do you create an array? You have to just keep here the square bracket, and what I want to do is I want to put here all my names. So let's say I'm putting here Ritwik, and let's say I'm putting here Mohan. Let's say the next one is Kumar, and let's say the next one is Soham. Okay, something like this I have written. I have created a list, and obviously this what I'm writing is a script, so I have to include here a script, otherwise it won't color that and it won't understand what I'm writing. So I'm just coloring it. Okay, so this is my whole script which I have written. So I have one variable which is named as text and I have one variable which is named as person. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is, let's say that I'm giving this an empty value, right? And here is the array. So what I want is I want to print all these person values. Okay, so how can I do that? How can I print all these person values? What I'll do, maybe I can write like document.write. Okay, and then I can just write here person, and I can give some values here, right? I can give here like maybe text. What I can do here is, let's not print this here, I'm going to print it later. So I'm going to print here is text plus equal to person, right? And then I want every item, so I'm going to put here 0. I'm going to add one more thing which is a br. Okay, this is what I have done. So what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is you have to add all the names. You have to add all the names to this text, right? So if I write here again the same thing, the person 0 is Ritwik, that is added to the text. I'm again adding person 1, that is added to the text, and then again I am adding 1, that is person 2, which is Kumar, and then we have Soham. So let me make you understand what is happening. See, basically we have 4 items in our array. In the person array we have Ritwik, Mohan, Kumar and Soham. Ritwik is the 0th index, so person 0 is Ritwik, right? Now what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that you're writing text equal to text plus person 0. That's what you're writing. So text is empty plus person 0 is Ritwik. So Ritwik is gonna go to text. right? So in the text, what do we have? In the text, we have first of all Ritwik, and then there's the BR. So I'm gonna get an enter here, and then the person one. So that will get added also. So I'm going to have Mohan. Similarly, we are going to have Kumar here. Similarly, we are going to have Soham here. This should be the output. What is the output? Text, right? So this is the output which is there inside the text, correct? So let's print that text. So I'm just printing this text here. Okay, that's my variable. Now I'm going to save this and I'm going to open it with my live server. Okay, so let me copy this and let me show you what is happening, right? So let's go ahead and open. Okay, so you can see the Chrome. This is not the file, this is the file. And now you can see what is the output. So you can see it's printing Ritwik, Mohan, Kumar, and Soham, right? Now understand what I have done here. What I have done basically is in the Visual Studio Code, I have written some array in which I have written some items, and I want to print these items one by one, right? Now these are only 4 items, so it's look good here. But what if I have a large amount of items? If I have 100 items and I want to print all of them, so will I write 100 items like this? Text plus equal to person 4, text plus equal to person 5, till text plus equal to person 99. No, right? I can't do that. So in that case, what I have to use? I have to use looping constructs, and that is what is called as for loop. Okay. So what is this for loop? There are so many looping constructs we have. We have in JavaScript for in, we have for off. Okay. Then we have while, and we also have do while. So these many looping constructs we have. All of these 5 things does the same thing, right? It does the same thing, but it's just that here what's going to happen, the syntax is different. Do while syntax is different, while syntax is different, for of syntax is different, for in syntax is different, for loop syntax is different. So just the syntax is different and nothing else. So I'm going to comment this so that you get to know how many looping constructs are there in JavaScript, and I'm going to go ahead and use my for loop in the beginning. Okay, so here in this example I'm going to use for loop. So let's see how we can write this. So what I'm going to do here is, as we don't need this, I'm going to comment it, and here down below I'm going to use for. Now understand how do we use for. Okay, so in for loop it's basically 3 things which you require. Okay, the first thing is the initialization, the second thing is the condition, and the third thing is the increment and decrement operator. I am going to read the comments later on, just after making you understand what is for loop, and then I'll be taking your doubts, so don't worry about that. So in for loop, the first thing is initialization. Okay, so here we write the initialization, after that we give a semicolon, and then we write the condition. Then in what condition you want to run this, and then I want to write the increment and decrement operator. So these 3 things will be there in my statement. Now understand, let's say that I'm taking a variable I, okay, and I'm giving a value 0 to it. That's my initialization. The first variable I've taken it as I, and I've given the first value to it as 0. Now what should be my condition? My condition is I is less than person dot length. Okay, now understand, I is how much? I is 0. 0 is less than person dot length. What is person dot length? Person length is 4, right? So 0 is less than 4, the condition is correct. That's how it will check the condition. Imagine that this I will increase. Maybe this I will increase to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then sometime it will come and it will become 4, right? So 4 is less than 4. Is the condition correct? No, right? So in such cases, this condition will become false. So we'll see what will happen if the condition is true and what will happen if the condition is false. Okay. Here we need to increase our I value. That automatically increases, right? So we'll write here I plus plus. So that automatically the I value increases. And then inside this for loop, I will write my statement which I want. So I want that the resultant value should be coming to the text variable, correct? So the resultant value, that means all the 4 names should come in the text value, and that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to write here person, and this value, remember I was writing here 0 1 2 3. Can't we say that 0 1 2 3 here I've already given as 0, because first value is 0 and I know that it's gonna increase. So 0 1 2 3, when it becomes 4 the condition will be false. So I know that here I have to put I. Okay, and then I'm going to just put the br tag to make it come down, that means after in the new line. So this much I have written here, okay, and I'm just printing the text after this. Okay, now you can see these 4 lines are converted into only these 2 lines of code, right? Now let's understand first logically what is happening. So what is happening? I have done here I equal to 0. 0 is less than 4, so it's true. So this will come down. It will not increment, it will come down. So understand, this is the first step, this is the second step, and then because the condition is true, this is the third step. In the third step, what is happening? Text equal to text plus person 0. Which is person 0? Ritwik. So Ritwik will get added to text. And then there will be a break. Fourth step is I plus plus. So I will increment. I will increment to how much? 1. Again, 1 is less than 4. Condition is true. So it will again come down. So always remember that increment will happen after the execution of the statement. Okay, so again text equal to text plus person 1. Person 1 is how much? Person 1 is Mohan. So that's gonna add with Ritwik. The same thing will go on, and I will increase to 2, I will increase to 3, and I will increase to 4. When I will increase to 4, 4 is less than person.length, that means 4, which is false. So it's gonna come out of the for loop and it's gonna print text. So let's see what is happening in my output. So now you can see what is happening. You can see still the answer is same. So even if I use for loop or even if I write it directly, still you are getting the answer, right? I hope you can see the output, right? Okay, cool. Now you can see. So fine, this is how it works. Now let's move to our Visual Studio Code. And here you can see that we have done this code, okay? Now, okay, one question, Suraj Kanojia, sir, how to comment more line on single click? How to comment more line on single click? See, what you have to do is, if you can see my code right away, you can see here I am selecting all these 3-4 lines, right? 5 lines I have selected here. So how can I comment more lines? What you have to do, you have to use control slash. Use just control slash, it will do it for you. So you don't have to remember what is the comment for that, what is the comment for this. Okay, you just have to select and control slash, no matter which programming language are you in. Okay, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, in all these 3 you will be able to comment it using control slash. Whether you are using Sublime Editor or Visual Studio Code, this will work. Okay, I'm going to uncomment it for now because I want to show you something. So that's how the for loop is done. Okay, that's what is an example of for loop. Now what we are going to do is we are going to see some more examples of this itself, the for loop itself, and then we are going to move to the for in loop. Okay, so let's see what examples we'll observe here. So I'm going to comment this and I'm going to go to the next part, and here I'm going to write again a different for loop. This time I'm not going to use person or text, I'm going to use it directly, right? So what I'm going to write here is let I equal to 0, right? And I is less than 10. And then I plus plus. Very easy, because there is no such person.length or something which I'm using. I'm directly using the numbers here, right? And here what I'm going to do, let's say that I want to print the numbers. So let's say text plus equal to the number is, I'm going to use plus here. I'm going to use here now the value, that means I, and then we are going to use the BR tag after this because I want to put a break of line after that. Okay, this is what I've done. The number is, now understand what's going to happen here. I can't comment this because I want to print it. So I'm going to remove it from here. I'm going to put it here. I hope you're understanding what I'm doing. Right, so I have the for loop, and what I've done, I have written a code of for loop I equal to 0. 0 is less than 10. The condition is true, so it will print the number is 0. Again, I will increment, it will say 1 is less than 10 and it will go to the number is 1. That's what I'm printing. So let's save this. Server is already running. So I'm going to go to my browser. Okay, and you can see what is happening. The number is 0, the number is 1, the number is 2, everything is showing here, right? But there's a space missing here. So I think we need to put some space in the block. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to just give a space, and this will give me the result of, okay. So this is a very good example, a very normal example of how you can actually run your, the code. Okay. Now what next? So let's understand how you can actually use for in loop and what is the difference between for and for in loop, right? Now in for loop, you have seen that we have so many things to write, right? If I go back, if I do here, you can see here we have initialization, we have condition, we have increment, and then we have separate statement which will get executed, right? Now suppose that we don't want to use all of these things, we don't want to make it much more complicated. At that time we will use for in loop. Okay, now what is for in loop? Let's understand in a simple manner. So what I'm going to do here is, let's comment this, or let's use this itself. Right now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to use for, and I'm going to use one variable. Let's say let, I'm going to use x, one variable, just a simple variable, and I'm going to write here in. Now see, I'm not initializing, I'm not doing anything, I'm just writing let x in, right? And this will be person. So person is an array, okay? And just that, simply just that, right? So what am I doing here? I am saying that hey system or hey browser, I don't want to give to you any initialization numbers or conditional statements or increment value, nothing. I'm just giving you one variable. You pass this variable one by one to each of your element. Pass this variable to each one of the elements one by one. Okay, to each one of them. That's why I've written person. So x in person means hey x, go to persons each element. Okay, so one by one each element it's gonna go. So here what I'm going to do, here I'm just going to use my text plus equal to, because I'm printing that, right? So I need to write it person, and here I'm going to use x because that's the variable. Okay, now what I'm doing, I am person x means person 0, person 1, person 2, person 3, and that's what is going to add to the text. Now you can see what is the difference between this code and this code, right? It will do the same thing. Let's see what's happening. So if I go to my Chrome, you can see what's happening. So it is printing me Ritwik, Mohan, Kumar and Soham. There is no breakage of line because I have not given any BR tag. So if you give it, that will also come. You just have to put here BR. So now you will be saying me that, sir, foreign is very easy because for loop you have to write a lot of things. Foreign is really easy, but there is a defect. Now what's the drawback of this? That foreign loop can be only used with arrays like this. An array is something which is having more number of values. Only with that you can use it. Okay, so not with any number, not with anything else. You can use it only with arrays. Okay, so that's what is your difference. Let me show you the Chrome ones so that you can understand the breakage of line. Any doubts still here? Some different loops in JS and C. Yes, there are some different loops in JS and C. In C we have only for loop, while and do while, but in JS we have for in and for off, right? So that's what I'm explaining also here. What does this for in and for off does, right? So this was the output, right? Now let's move to our again the Visual Studio Code, and this is just a small example of foreign. Let me see if I can give you any other example of foreign here. Okay. Any questions? If you have any questions, please do let me know. My screen is on the right side, so that's why I'm looking there. Do not get disturbed. I know my camera is straight. Okay, cool. Any doubts? Anything? So let's jump to our for off and let's understand what is for off. Okay. Now for off is again very easy, very simple. What you have to do is, I think my code is visible. So what I'm going to do here is for off, I'm just going to copy this, right? And I'm going to write here the same thing. This time I'm just going to make this in to off. Okay, just doing that, nothing else. I'm just doing what? I just want this particular off to happen here, and here I'm going to use X. Okay, let's see first what is happening, what's basically happening in my browser. So if you look here, again the same thing is coming, right? Then what is the difference which you can see in for in and for off? What is that main thing which you have seen when we are using for off and when we are using for in? When we are using for in, you can observe that I was writing here person X, right? And here I have written X, correct? Now, if I comment this, now let's understand what is for off first of all. So for off statement basically loops through the values of an iterable object. Okay, so it just takes the values and iterate it. So it directly takes the values, and that's why I'm not writing person X, person this, that, person 0, person 1, person 2, because it directly takes the value. So when it is directly taking the value, then why I have to write here person X and all? Whereas when you talk about foreign statement loops through the properties of an object. Properties of an object in the sense that it has to be represented by a person 0, person 1. It does not fetch directly the values. Okay, that's the difference between for in and for off. Okay, so it's always better to use for off, but at some times when you're working with objects and classes, we do have to use in. Okay, let me give you one more example. Okay, so I've commented this particular text, and let's say that I'm writing here, let word equal to Ritwik. So this is the word which I have written here, right? And I think I've already given the text here. So that text is empty. I'm going to keep it empty. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put here for loop. I'm going to take a variable of X and I'm going to use here word. Can you imagine what I'm doing right now here? I just want to fetch all the letters from that word. Okay, so how am I doing? Because I know that this X will go to that word and fetch only the values, and the value is Ritwik. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just write X here. Okay, and what's going to happen? Let's see. So if I save this, server is already on. I'm going to go to my Chrome. You can see what is happening. It's saying me Ritwik. Now you will be thinking, why is it telling me Ritwik? How is it fetching the values? How is it fetching the values? Let me tell you. Now see what is happening basically. Ritwik is totally a word, right? So it is having characters RITWIK. So X, when I say that fetch the values, it is not fetching the word directly. It is fetching the letters one by one. So it is first fetching R, then I, then T, then W, then I, then K. That's how it is doing it. Okay. So that is what is the difference between for off and for in. I hope you have understood this. Let me see if I can teach you something else also inside for in or for off. The main difference I've already told you. Again, I'm stating for in statement loops through the properties of an object. Okay, if you have the object, let's say that objects can be anything, right? Objects can be any particular thing. Objects can be this also. So let's say that I'm commenting this, right? Objects can be this, right? You have const, you have person. This is an object because we have keys and value. So this is also an object. Now, if you want to fetch this, what you want to do? You'll go here and you will use here for in. So I'm going to just use here for x in, and then I'm going to write here whatever the constant I've used. So I've used here person. Let's say this is person1 because I've already given the one variable named as person. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put here text plus equal to, and here what you have to do is you have to mention what do you want to see, because for in, I'm using for in, so it's not going to fetch the value, it's going to fetch the whole thing, the whole property of an object. So I'm going to use here person and then x. That's how I'm going to write. So if I save this, I hope everything is correct. Yeah, if I save this and if I go back to my Chrome, you will be able to see the server running. Okay, now you can see it's giving undefined, undefined, undefined. Let's understand why is it giving undefined. I think there's something wrong in the program itself. Let me go back to my code. Let me show you the code. Okay, so is there anything wrong here? Person1, that's the wrong thing. Okay, I've not given person1 there. Let's save this. Let's go back to my Chrome again, and now I think you can see the output, right? So that's how, that is what is the properties of an object. That's where you will use for in. Okay, fetching the properties of an object. Let me show you the code. So you can see this is the object, this is the properties, and we are fetching the properties using for in loop. Whereas in this, what was happening, only the values we are fetching. So for in is to fetch the properties of an object, for off is to fetch the values of an iterable object. Okay, that's the difference. Can we go back to our while loop? Now let's understand what is while loop. While loop is really very easy. You don't have to do anything here. It's the same how you do it in C programming language. So let's understand how do we do this. Any doubt till here? I have written all the examples and I've commented it so that you can watch all the examples. I'm just keeping it like this so that you can see all the examples. Let me know if you have any questions. Hello, Gajanan. Any questions, any doubt, guys, please do let me know. Okay, cool. So let's understand what is while loop, and then we are going to move to do while loop. Those two things we are going to understand. It's the same thing. I think you can also practice this with me, because here you don't need any explanations or something like that, because both the loops you know already how to write it, right? So let's understand that. Now I'm scrolling down, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to use while loop, right? And I'm going to just give the command as I less than, let's say, 15, and while I is less than 15, what do I want? I want that it should print something. Okay, now understand what was the difference between for loop and while loop. Basically in for loop, what I'm doing, I am initializing, I am writing the condition, and also I am incrementing the value in the same line. But in while loop, this is not the thing. In the while loop syntax, you only write the condition. That's the difference. So there should be some place where I should write the initialization, right? Because it does the same thing. For loop and while loop is doing the same thing. The result of both of the things will be the same. The only thing difference is the syntax. In for loop, everything comes inside one line, but in while loop, everything comes inside separate lines. So I'm going to put here I, and I'm going to give here 0 value because I'm using I here. So I have to make sure that the variable is declared in the beginning, right? I'm going to use text also, but the text is already declared here. So that's why I'm not using it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the main statement of my while loop, which is the logic, right? In the logic, what I want to write is, let's say the number coming on the loop is this much, and then I'm going to add it with my I value. I'm going to give here one space, and also I'm going to give here one BR tag. Okay, this is what is my text should get printed, and you can see I is less than 15. That means 0, and then I have to increment it, right? So where should I increment this? First it will print the number coming on the loop is 0, and then I want my I value to increment. So just after this statement, I have to increment this. So I'm going to do I plus plus. Okay, so that every time the loop is running, the I gets incremented. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 15 when it will come, it will give you a false condition. So this text is not going to print. So let's save this and let's see whether I'm getting that particular output or not. Okay, so I am getting from 0 till 14 and it's working. This is what is your while loop. Now, what is the difference between while loop and do while loop? In while loop, everything was happening directly in one go, right? I am getting all of my statements. I'm getting from 0 to 15 or to 14 in one go. But in do while, it doesn't happen so. Okay, in do while, what happens? Let's understand. And then I'm going to take some questions. Please be ready with the questions. Please be ready with what all doubts you have so that I can cover it. Now understand what is the difference between while and do while. So in while, everything is happening in one go, but in do while, it will first do something and then it will go in one loop. Okay, so what it's gonna do in the first time, let's understand. So here what I'm going to do, again I'm going to take one variable which is I, and I'm going to give here the value 0. Cool. And first it has to do something. First in this loop, it has to do something. So I'll write the logic here itself because it has to do something. So that's what I'm writing here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here because this is what I want him to do. And then the value should get incremented. At the first time, I value is how much? 0. So in the 0, it will print the number coding coming on the loop is 0. Understand, till now the loop has not run. The first statement, whatever you are getting, is without the loop running. The first statement is just getting printed without the loop is getting run. Now I am increasing my I value. So now the I value will become 1. And now it has to go back to the do thing, right? So what I have to do, I have to write here at last while the condition will be I less than 15. That's what it has to do. Now understand how it's working. I equal to 0. It's going to print this statement. The number coming on the loop is 0. And then it's going to increment the value of I to 1. And then it will come to the condition. 1 is less than 15. So understand that 0 is less than 15 wala condition never came. 0 less than 15 wala condition never came. In while loop, it started from 0 less than 15, right? That's the difference. So in do what happens? The first iteration will not happen within the loop. It will directly happen. Okay. From the second, the while loop will start playing the role. Okay. So let's see what is the output here. If I go to my Chrome now, so you can see you're getting the same output, right? So this is how you work with your while and do while. I hope you have understood this. Also, do not forget to put the semicolon here. Okay, this is very important because you are terminating your sentence. So this semicolon is very important here. Why specifically here? Because it's a looping statement which are written, right? So here semicolon is very important. You have to tell the system that, hey, I want to stop this thing here. Cool. Any questions? सर एपीआई बारे में भी वीडियो बनाओ और वेबसाइट डिज़ाइन को डोमेन और होस्टिंग के साथ कैसे जोड़े. ओके, तो या दीज ऑल थिंग्स आर देयर इन द सिलेबस. ये बहुत बाद में आएगा, लेटर ऑन व्हेन यू नो आई कम इन द डोमेन एंड होस्टिंग पार्ट ऑफ द वीडियोस. तो जब हम लोग समझेंगे कि कब पूरा वेब पेज बन जाएगा, व्हेन द होल वेब पेज विल बी रेडी, देन वी आर गोइंग टू होस्ट इट, राइट? सो एट दैट टाइम आई विल टीच यू हाउ टू डू दिस, राइट? एपीआई भी उसी टाइम पे डिस्कस करेंगे, नॉट नाउ. अगर अभी मैं कुछ समझाने लगे एपीआई के बारे में, यू विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग, राइट? So not now, but yes, these all things are there. I'm going to use the free domain also, and paid domain का मैं आपको idea दूंगा how to use it, because it's a paid one. So mostly I will be using the free one to host anything, to host the web page. Fine. Cool. So this was all about the looping constructs. If you have any doubts, then please let me know right away so that I can help you out. And if not, then let's see what other examples I can give you here. Okay, so any doubts, please do let me know. I'm just copying one of the code from somewhere, and I just want to explain how that code is working so that you understand that वैसा भी code बन सकता है, ठीक है? So just to make you understand, because sometimes what happens, you guys go to websites, you guys go and you want to learn something, but then when you see the code, you do not understand how this code is running, right? So let me explain you how this code is running. Okay, let's understand what is happening here. So okay, have a look here what is happening. Basically I have one statement which is const numbers, right? And I've written all the 5 numbers here. Okay, and now const means it's constant, we cannot change it, right? So we cannot change that. And then we have taken one variable which is let text, and then we have the numbers dot for each my function, and I don't know what is this, right? Because I have not taught you this, what is this, correct? So I will explain what is that, just a minute, and I'll also tell you why I am taking this example. This will help you a lot. So here let's understand what I'm doing. First of all, I must tell you that in upcoming sessions of JavaScript, we are going to learn what is function, right? So we need to understand function before understanding the real function, what is the work, right? So I'll tell you what is function basically. Now see, this I have created a function here, okay? Now what is this function? Let me tell you. This function is something which I want to run anytime I want. Let's say that your mom have cooked food, okay, and she has kept it, and she has told you that, hey, I prepared the food for you, and you can use it to the whole time, the whole day you can have this food. So your food is already ready, and you know that your mom has cooked for it, so you don't have to cook it. You don't have to again waste your time and energy, right? Your food is already ready. It's already cooked. So you'll go in the kitchen, you will have the food and you will eat it, right? Same thing is function. One function is already designed and developed. Whenever you want that function to work, you can go there and call that function. That function will start working. Okay, so it's something like it is already there. You have to just call it whenever you need it. Okay, so it's something like that. Now we have created one function which is named as my function, and this my function, what it is doing, it is adding all the values to the text with a br tag. Okay, this is what it is doing. Now let's understand what is happening above. So as you can see, I've written numbers dot for each my function. Now understand what is this. For each is a predefined function in which I've written my function, which is this function. So this whole thing is basically written inside this my function. Okay, what I am doing indirectly, I have not written the code directly, I've written it indirectly. What I'm doing indirectly, what I want is, I want all these numbers to be fetched one by one and get inside this value. How am I doing it? I'm using this name, this function name called as my function. Okay, so what I'm doing here, imagine that this 3 lines of code is written here. Okay, is written here. So just I'll paste it. I know it looks very abrupt, it doesn't sound good and it doesn't look good, but understand that this is how it is. Now what is the meaning of that? Let's understand in a normal Hindi language or English language. So हमारे पास numbers का एक array है, हम चाह रहे हैं, I want कि from these numbers, for each of the value of these numbers, my function should run, and inside that whatever value I'm getting, ये value यहाँ पे आ जाए. So you can see here that I have 3 parameters here: value, index and array. Value is the actual value, 25, 16, 9, 4 or 45. Index is the index, like 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's the index. And then array is the whole array. So when I'm keeping this here, I'm just saying that, hey, I want each of the values from this array, every index, all the values. From this array, I want all the index values. So all the values are getting fetched here, and that's what it will print. Okay, but I'm just writing it in this manner so that it doesn't look abrupt. Okay, and then I'm just printing it inside txt. So at last what I'm going to do, I'm just going to print txt, right? And that's what I'm doing here, document.getIn by id demo. So basically I have to create a paragraph id demo here. Cool. So what will happen? You will get the answer in the paragraph, which will be these numbers. So let's see. Okay, so I'm getting all the numbers here. That's how you can use functions with the for each. So that's what is for each, which I have shown you now. Okay, and this is also one of the function which you can use. This is not a loop, but yeah, this function is there for each, which you can use. Okay, normally in JavaScript we don't use this, but most of the time, but yeah, sometimes you have to use it. And also understand that this for each will only be used via arrays. You can see number is an array, so that's how you use it. The syntax of this is very simple. The syntax of this is array dot for each. That's how you have to use it. So make sure that whenever you're using for each, you should use it with an array, which is numbers. Cool. So I hope you have understood this. Any doubt? ओके सर, नो प्रॉब्लम सर. यहाँ रिएक्ट जेएस भी आएगा, सूरज, रिएक्ट जेएस भी आएगा, बट क्योंकि आपको पता होगा रिएक्ट जेएस बेसिकली एक लाइब्रेरी है, तो अगर आप जावास्क्रिप्ट नहीं समझेंगे तो रिएक्ट जेएस समझना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है, राइट? सो व्हाट वी हैव प्लान्ड इज वी वांटेड टू मेक इट इजी फॉर यू. सो फर्स्ट विल कवर जावास्क्रिप्ट. HTML एंड CSS का सेशन पहले कवर हो ही रहा है. इट इज हैपनिंग एट नाइट 8 to 10:15. सो दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. JavaScript maybe we are covering JavaScript, and then we'll move either to Angular or directly to React. Okay, so you guys need to tell me whether you want Angular or directly React. The difference between Angular and React is Angular is a very big topic. It is having all of the things given to you, but it's big, so it will take 1 month, maximum 1 month for you to cover it up. I can deliver it in 15 days, but for you to understand, it will take maximum 1 month. React is a very small concept. It's a very small concept because none of the topics are there inside React. React is very small concept. It just uses third-party libraries to do everything. So we always use third-party libraries, and we understand those third-party libraries how to use. So React is a very small concept, Angular is a very big concept. How I have learned, I have first learned Angular and then I moved to React. The same thing, if you follow, it will be easy for you. But if you directly jump to React, then it can become a little bit tedious for you. So that is what is our plan, and we are still figuring out whether we should cover which one, because React is the most popular one and Angular is also popular, but that is also required. Rishabh Shukla, I'm new to your content and really liking it. Please tell us the flow in which the content is going to be covered. So Rishabh, welcome to this session first of all, and thank you so much for watching this session and thank you for the comment. The flow, how this is going on is we are coming up live at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for JavaScript, and we are learning JavaScript. Till now I have completed till looping constructs, as you can see, and soon I'm going to start the arrays, strings, functions, closure, hoisting, all these topics in our JavaScript. The other thing is 8 to 10 p.m., 8 to 10:15 basically is going on with HTML and CSS. In HTML, I have covered some topics like list and table, and in CSS, we have covered some topics like types of CSS and types of selectors. If you have never watched it, go ahead and watch it and get ready for it, because today we are going to understand some topics in CSS which is on border, padding, margin, pseudo classes, and a lot more. And one more simple project, a very simple project of 1 hour, right? So these things are going to happen today, and I hope you have understood what I've told about the structure of the program which we are doing. Okay. Any questions, anything, please do let me know. I hope you have understood what is looping constructs. So again, I'm going to revise this for you once again. So the things which we have learned today is mostly 6 things, right? We have understood about for loop. We have understood that in for loop, it's basically having one line, but that one line is really big. It is having the initialization, it is having the condition, and it is having the increment and decrement operator. You can also use decrement operator, right? If you want to decrease from 10 to 0, so you will use I minus minus, that will decrease. I hope you're understanding, because you are from, you know, C language and C++, so you must be knowing about this. That is for loop. In JavaScript, we have 3 new kind of for loops. 2 are loops and 1 is a function. So I'll tell you what is it. For in and for off. For in and for off are 2 new JavaScript for loops, which we have understood. And I also told you that what is the difference between for in and for loop. For in is basically looping through the properties of an object, and for off is basically looping through the values of that object. Directly the values it will fetch. Whereas there is a function which is for each. So for each, basically what it does, it uses with an array and uses with a function so that you can fetch all the values as well. Okay, but it is mostly used with a array because for each is a function. Okay, and then we have understood the while and do while. So the while runs everything in one go. Okay, it doesn't wait for anything. Do while first executes the first execution, the first statement execution will happen without the loop in do while. In do while, the first execution of the statement will happen without the loop, and from the second the loop will start running. Okay, that's what we have learned today, and I hope you have understood all the differences. Do not worry if you have not understood very strictly or very diligently. That's not our motto. Our motto is to understand it in a very simple and basic manner, because once you will do the projects, you will again use these things. So at that time, you will understand in a better way. Always remember, tutorials will not gonna help you. Basically, the projects is gonna help you. Whatever you use in your projects, that's what is gonna tell you what you have learned, right? So understand that. Okay, cool. So I think it's already time. If you have any questions, do let me know. And let's end this stream. Let's end this live session. So please hit the like button if you have already watched this live session and you really liked it. And also please subscribe to the channel, because if you're not subscribing, then what will happen? You'll not get the notifications of all the live sessions. So if I'm coming at 8 p.m., you will be busy with your some kind of work, and you will never know when I'm coming live, right? So what will happen once you subscribe the channel and you keep your notifications on, you will get a message that I'm live, so that you can open that. You have to just tap on it and it will open and you can attend my session. So please do subscribe the channel and hit like in this particular session. Tell your friends, tell everybody else that this session is there and this course is happening. Okay, cool. Thank you so much guys for watching this, and I hope you have understood all the topics which we have learned today. I'll meet you really soon, and bye bye, take care. I'll meet you at 8 p.m. with HTML and CSS, some of the topics. Bye bye guys.